Welcome back to The Bright Side. Thanks for joining us. This is your nutritional common sense radio program. We break down disease. We break down how disease and illness begins. We break down how disease and illness progresses. And most importantly, how to reverse degenerative disease. If we're really going to reverse degenerative diseases for reals, as Ali G would say, for reals, not for doctoring, not for numbers, but for reals, we got to know how disease begins and how it develops. And it's not all about the physical body either. I know I talk about nutrition, and this is a nutritional program, but the fact of the matter is the physical bodies, like the tail, and the spiritual, mental, and emotional bodies are like the dog. And we can no more address our health issues by strictly physical means, by only taking this vitamin or this nutritional supplement. We can no more address our health issues by physical strategies alone than a tail can wag a dog. And this is so important. And I know I'm guilty of glossing over these more abstract dimensions of health and wellness, because I find nutrition, and I know you guys do too, as a powerful modality, which it is, as a fascinating science, which it is, as an important and very relevant subject when it comes to our health. And it is all of these things. But the fact of the matter is, if we're really going to be able to maximally access our healing abilities and reverse degenerative disease, which it is in our nature and it is in the body's nature to do. If we're going to reverse degenerative disease and live a long, blessed, joyful, happy life as we are supposed to, first and foremost, it's not about our physical bodies. It's not about nutrition. It's not about exercise. It's not about diet. It's certainly not about anything your boneheaded medical professional can do for you. It is first and foremost about focusing on our internal state of being, not on our external circumstances, on our internal state of being. And I don't talk about this anywhere near enough, but I think it's very, very important to recognize. Sure, you may get some benefit from getting on a nutritional supplement. You may get some benefit by getting on an entire supplement program. A lot of people do, and it's important. You may get health benefits by laying off of gluten or intermittent fasting, or enjoying your bone soup on a daily basis, or exploiting or leveraging any of the wide range of ideas about health and nutrition that we talk about here every day on The Bright Side. But wellness is not merely what we eat, and it's certainly not, primarily anyway, in our external environment, in our external circumstances. There's a piece of the puzzle that's missing, and that is the attention that is paid to our internal nature, to our internal way of being, which is spiritual, mental, and emotional. And interestingly, it's these aspects of disease and of health and of wellness and longevity that have been stuck in the closet, hidden from us, marginalized, dismissed, laughed at by your doctor, laughed at by mainstream medicine, airy-fairy. Why? Because insurance companies can't bill you for emotional strategies, mental strategies. Insurance companies don't pay for relaxation techniques. Insurance companies don't pay for meditation classes, for hot tubs, for self-help books, or church memberships. And why have all these healing modalities been marginalized when really they're just as effective? No, they're not just as effective. They're more effective than any drugs or any surgery. They don't cost any money. They're free. We can do them ourselves. Why have these healing modalities been marginalized? Because you can't get billed for them. They can't be sold to us. They can't be detected. They can't be measured. They can't be irradiated. They can't be made better. They can't be strengthened. And they can't be billed. They can't sell us relaxation. They can't sell us emotional strategies. They can't sell us mental strategies or spiritual connection, because it's ours. It's already ours. Our spiritual nature, our mental nature, our emotional nature, it's ours. Nobody can sell it to us. Nobody can code it and bill us for it. All they need to do, our emotional natures, our mental natures, our spiritual natures, all they need to do or have done is to be tended with loving attention, like a gardener tends his rose bush or a mother takes care of her baby. Health is simple, you guys. Health is simple. Whenever I do a talk, invariably they ask me, what do you want to talk about? What's the subject? And I always say, health is simple. That's the key. That's what I want on my gravestone. Health is simple, even if I'm dead. Health is simple. If we're sick, if we're degenerating, we have simply mucked up the system. The system is built on self-adjustment. The body system, the biological system is built to heal. It's built to regenerate. It's homeostatic. It's built into the system to be self-healing. If we are not completely reversing degenerative diseases and restoring regenerative biology, our ability to regenerate, our ability to heal, if we are stuck in this downward spiral of chronic degeneration like millions and millions and millions, tens of millions, maybe 100 or maybe more million Americans are, there's a missing piece to the puzzle. I talk to people with health challenges every single day, 7 days a week, dozens of people a month, hundreds of people a year, maybe thousands of people a year. And many of them just can't seem to figure out what's wrong. This might be you if you're listening to this program. Just can't figure out what's wrong. Nothing seems to help. You go off gluten, change your diet, supplementing, taking your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and most people will feel better. Granted, once they start these strategies, most people will feel better once they get off of gluten and grains and get on a good nutritional supplement program and exercise. But 3 out of 4 people, maybe 70, 75% of people are not going to experience complete healing, despite all the physical protocols and changes and supplements and techniques and diets and exercises. They just can't seem to get over the hump to completely reverse their degenerative disease. But then there's the 1 out of 4, the 25%, or maybe 1 out of 3, maybe 30% or so, that completely reverse 100%, get off all their drugs. And I've seen this a lot. Get off all their prescription medicines, they lose massive amounts of weight. I've seen it over and over again. They completely reverse the markers of degenerative disease. 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 will reverse their degenerative diseases completely. And what makes them different from the other 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 folks? What makes them different is their willingness to address the multiple dimensions of health and healing, the spiritual, mental, and emotional aspects of self-help, understanding their psychology, understanding psychological motivations and drives. All right, got more to say, and then we'll talk a little bit about nitrates, and then take your calls as well. 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back after this. Okay, from Loyola University Health System, when a broken heart becomes a real medical condition. Broken heart syndrome refers to an actual medical condition that feels like a heart attack. Broken heart syndrome occurs during a highly stressful or emotional time, such as a divorce, death of a spouse, serious medical diagnosis, significant health problems. So you have an emotional issue, it leads to a physical issue. From the Endocrine Society, this is from yesterday, napping reverses health effects of poor sleep. Just taking a nap can reverse health effects associated with sleep problems. This is from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. A simple thing like a nap can be more powerful than a prescription drug. From CNN, kissing can raise oxytocin levels and accelerate healing. Just kissing somebody. These are the kinds of strategies that nobody tells us about. These are the kind of strategies you're not going to hear from your doctor, who is going to drug you and irradiate you and cut things out and then bill you for it. You guys, I've been doing the healthcare thing for 32 years, and I'm telling you, the spiritual, mental, and emotional dimensions are primal to the physical dimension. If you're one of those folks who's tried everything and you're supplementing, you're doing it all, but you just can't seem to get over the hump, you've got to recognize, please, that there is a spiritual, mental, and emotional aspect to good health. And even though your doctor can't bill you for it, or the insurance companies can't detect it, or there's no procedures to upregulate emotional health, these strategies, these abstract strategies, are invisible, but they're important. They're like the wind. You can only see the results. You can't see them, but you can see their results, their attitudes, their ways of living, and they take practice. It's a mental and emotional way of being and a spiritual way of being that requires attention and spiritual connection that needs to be practiced and exercised. And I know there's probably some of you out there thinking, oh, that is so silly. That's so airy-fairy. Why is Ben talking about this silly Boulder, Colorado hippie stuff? And that's too bad, because it means that you've been had. If you're thinking that this is not real, that this is somehow too abstract for a nutrition program, for a health and healing program, it means you've been tricked and entranced into believing the modern medical model, the paradigm of show me the numbers. Show me the test scores. What's your cholesterol scores? What's your TSH numbers? It's like a hypnotist entrancing someone into not knowing that there's the number 4. I went to see a stage hypnotist a few years ago, and it really changed my life. He brought some people up. He had them hypnotized into not knowing that there was the number 4. And so that he had a girl, for example, count her fingers. She went 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. She didn't know there was a number 4. And she said, oh my God, I got 6 fingers. And then everybody in the audience yelled, 1, 2, the hypnotist said, tell her what's missing, and everybody in the audience yelled, 4, 4, and the lady couldn't hear. The girl couldn't hear the number 4. She had been hypnotized into not seeing the number 4. In the same way, the medical model entrances us into not seeing its failure, not seeing its abject failure. Has anybody ever had a degenerative crisis or chronic disease reversed by the pharmacomedical model? No, but we're hypnotized into believing we need to go to the doctor if we have rheumatoid arthritis. Today, on CNN, rheumatoid anti-inflammatory diet helps with rheumatoid arthritis. Of course it does, because the number one cause of inflammation is food, and all chronic degenerative diseases are inflammatory. So if you want to believe the modern medical model, great. And if you want to believe in your doctor, the nice guy that he is, great. If you want to believe in the modern medical model's version of nutrition, now you've got these functional doctors who are co-opting and sticking their nose into what should be our personal business by doing functional medicine, alternative medicine. If you want to do this, if you want to have allopathic nutrition, I call this for that. Oh, I got this problem, I'll take that. You treat illness X with vitamin A or C or D or whatever, great. But you're leaving a lot of health on the table. On the other hand, if you're interested in accessing all your healing powers, start to examine your connection to the divine force, to nature, to chi, whatever you want to call it, God, Jesus, I don't care. Whatever you want to call it, examine your sense of connection to higher power. Watch your thoughts and feelings, observe your thoughts and feelings, and practice healthy thoughts and feelings. Does anybody really think it's possible for disease not to show up? For us to be really healthy following years and decades of crappy thoughts and crappy feelings? Of course disease will show up. Fake it till you make it. As you fake smile, as you pretend you're happy, as you force yourself to think healing thoughts, guess what happens? Your chemistry changes, even if you're faking it. Think about ways that you're rich. Think about ways that you're healthy. Think about, if you got a chronic degenerative disease, cancer, whatever, but you can walk and wiggle your toes and move your fingers, think about that. Think about what's good in your life. And for those few seconds of fakery, even if you're faking yourself out, for those few seconds, your cortisol levels are going down, you're feeling like you're less stressed, your brain pleasure chemicals are rising, and you get a sense of joy and knowing that you've done good. Your sense of reward goes up. You've succeeded. You can actually feel yourself being rewarded from the surge in dopamine, the rise in dopamine levels in your brain as you're faking being happy and successful. Your body is mobilizing oxytocin and healing peptides. Makes you feel like you're in love. You're growing collagen for stronger bones. You're growing collagen for anti-aging. It's the best wrinkle cream there is. Just faking that you're happy is the best wrinkle cream there is. You're fighting cancer way more effectively than any friggin' drug on the planet with no yucky side effects. Your autoimmune inflammation is reduced. Your blood pressure drops. You're eating less food. You're losing weight, and you're secreting less insulin. Your insulin's more sensitive. Sounds like a cure for diabetes. Just feeling good, just faking it. In short, these are all physical correlates of non-physical strategies. Physical ways these airy-fairy techniques can help change our bodies. These are tangible scientific links to supposedly abstract, airy-fairy, non-scientific, and non-substantial strategies. And it's not airy-fairy, and it's not Pollyanna. It's real, measurable, scientific results that come from these kinds of strategies: mental health, mental and emotional and spiritual strategies, focusing on our internal states, along with making sure we're honoring our bodies with nutrition, a supplement program, clean food, less food, and just a little tiny bit of stress and strain to stimulate growth. It's our birthright. It's our ticket to good health. And we don't need a doctor. We don't need a pharmacist. You don't need me. You don't need Obamacare. You don't need an insurance company to cash your health ticket in. It's ours. It's our birthright. All right. I want to talk a little bit more about nitrates and nitrites, those much maligned molecules that some scientists actually feel these days are nutrients. There are some scientists who legitimately feel that nitrates and nitrites, which have been so maligned for the last 30 or 40 years, are actually nutritional. And I agree, at least partially. If you're interested in getting the power of nitrates and nitrites into your system, think veggies. Veggies. Spinach, arugula, kale, celery, beetroot. These are all wonderful sources of nitrates. It's kind of interesting how, via their nitrate content, spinach and lettuce and green leafy veggies, when they're done correctly, when you're eating them correctly, when they're juiced, for example, or maybe heated a little bit. Or also, there's one other strategy that you can use to really maximize the benefits of nitrates and nitrates. I'll tell you what that is tomorrow. But it's kind of interesting how these kinds of veggies actually have anabolic building properties, almost as good as beef. Not quite as good as animal foods, but right up there. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We're coming back with your phone calls right after this. Don't go away. And as luck would have it, just when I'm about to go to a phone call, I lost my stack. So Kyle, if you're there, Irene in Canada. Let's go to Irene in Canada. What's up, Irene?
Yes, I wanted to discuss the problems I'm having.
Okay.
I've been taking the tangerine and the OsteoFX for about 2 years.
2 years,
and
wow.
For the first year and a half, it was really helping me out. And then all of a sudden, I started having problems.
What did you tell me about your problems?
Okay, it seems that I had or have irritable bowel, and while I was taking the tangerine, it was really helping out, and I wasn't having to take flaxseed on a daily basis, ground flaxseed.
Okay.
And it was really doing well. Then all of a sudden I started having problems, and I noticed that whenever I had any foods with inulin in it, which a lot of the gluten-free foods have got that in, it would make my problem worse. And then
well, let's hang on right there, man. Let's hang on for a couple seconds, okay? Because now you say whenever I eat foods that have inulin in them, right? So when you eat a food, like give me an example of one of those foods, just one example.
Well, I don't know. I was trying different foods that were.
Just give me an example. Just give me one example. Gluten-free brownies. Okay, let me.
Been like probably a baked item.
Okay, let's say gluten-free brownies. Is that a good one? Gluten-free. Gluten-free.
I wouldn't know because I never tried them. I can't remember what I tried because it was some months ago, and I don't. Okay, well,
whatever it is, ma'am, this is the reason I want to bring this up, and it's very important because we get these ideas whenever I take inulin. I have this problem. How do you know it's the inulin? Aren't there like 30? Well, hang on, ma'am. I'm talking to everybody, including you, because I hear this a lot.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when you take a food and you eat it, and then you break out, or you have diarrhea, or you have a problem, whatever it is, and then you look at the ingredients and say, oh, it has inulin. And then you eat another food and you have the same problem, and you look at the ingredients and says, oh, it has inulin. You immediately conclude, oh my God, I must be having a problem with inulin. But we never think that it's one of the other 30 ingredients that are in that food. So how do you know it's the inulin, ma'am? You see, this is the reason I'm bringing this up is because we labor under misconceptions that do not serve us. You have irritable bowel syndrome, my dear. That means your bowel is breaking down. Now, what do the bowels do? What do the bowels contact on a regular basis? Do they contact pixie dust from an angel that sprinkles it on your head? No. Do they contact carbon monoxide from the environment? Not significantly. Well, what do the bowels contact on a regular basis? Food. So you got a food problem, ma'am, if you have irritable bowel syndrome. It's not a Beyond Tangy Tangerine issue. What's happening probably is the Beyond Tangy Tangerine was keeping you in the game for a couple of years. You didn't change how you ate, or you didn't change it significantly, or you didn't change it the right way, and your irritable bowel syndrome got worse. Okay? So why would you think it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine? And I'm not attacking you. I'm just curious, and I want to know. It's interesting to me, and it should be interesting to you. Why would you think it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and not a further degeneration, a progressive worsening of your irritable bowel syndrome? Why would your first conclusion be, oh, it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, not my irritable bowel syndrome is progressing and getting worse? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
See, the reason this is important, and please I hope you don't hear me attacking you. I'm trying to help.
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm trying to help. See, when we think it's something Beyond Tangy Tangerine and not what it really is, now we can't correct the problem. We're not correcting the real problem. We think it's something else. I talked to a gal yesterday, and her body is completely falling apart. She's 32 years old, and I can't even begin to list the problems she's having with her hair and her weight and her blood sugar. And she wrote me a note and says, I've concluded I'm allergic to vitamin B6. Now, I had to call her up, and I had to say, look, if you think it's the vitamin B6 you're allergic to and not the foods you're eating or other things, you can't correct the problem. So for you, my dear, Irritable bowel syndrome is a food issue, and this is, if you're serious about working with this is what you need to do. You need to stop eating for a day, or maybe 2, or even 3. And then you want to reintroduce foods back into your system one by one, starting with your favorite foods. And I can guarantee you, you're going to start to notice that the foods you're eating on a regular basis are making your bowels worse. And then you can really do something about it. Then you can stop doing whatever it is you're doing. But to say, oh, it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine or the Beyond OsteoFX or it's the supplements, it's a diversion. It's taking you away from the real problem. Irritable bowel syndrome. You guys, I'm not just talking to Irene. I'm talking to everybody. It is so easy to deal with because it's a food issue. And a food issue is our issue. Now, in conjunction with this, and I'm sorry, you said your name was Irene, I hope, right?
Yeah.
Ma'am? Okay. So, Irene, in addition to doing these food strategies, beginning with fasting, and by the way, the Suero V, if you haven't tried that, that's a great way to go into a fast, a real easy way to go into a fast. You can, if fasting, for you, ma'am, because your bowels are so ragged after having IBS for a while, your bowels need a break. It might be best for you just to stop eating. But if you can't stop eating, get some Suero V and do a bottle of Suero V every hour or maybe every half hour or so, and then coast your way into a fast and then start to reintroduce foods and start with your favorite foods. And then also for irritable bowel syndrome, are you on a good probiotic supplement? It's very important.
Yeah, I'm taking the
Nightly Essence.
Yeah, the
good. No, they're called the Nightly Essence, the Biolumin Nightly Essence. It's a probiotic. It's good bacteria. It's an absolute must-have for all bowel issues. It's a must-have for everybody. But if you have bowel issues, IBS, you absolutely have to do it. It can really make a huge, 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 huge difference. Bacteria in the gut are responsible for keeping the intestines healthy. And without those bacteria, and if you have IBS and you have chronic diarrhea, the chances are you definitely have messed up gut bacteria. You can notice a very significant difference and quickly by getting on maybe 3 or 4 capsules in the morning and 3 or 4 capsules at night of the Biolumin Nightly Essence. And then the next thing you want to do is the Z Radical or the Fucoidin Z. If you do the capsules, do 3 capsules in the morning, 3 capsules at night. If you do the liquid, you want to do a couple in the morning and a couple capfuls in the morning and a couple capfuls at night. When you're doing your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Irene, sip on it very slowly. I assume you're doing that, correct? You're sipping on it slowly throughout the...
No, actually, I don't like the taste of it, so I get it down as I can.
No. You're urinating it out, and you're probably messing up your bowels. It's a lot of nutrition. It's a lot of minerals to do all at once, and you're not leveraging all the nutrients. You're losing them. So sip on it. Now, if you don't like the taste, dilute it. Dilute it to where you do like the taste. The reason people don't like the taste of the BTT is because it's intense. It's really strong. So dilute it.
It is.
So dilute it. Just do as much as you like. Get to the point where you like the taste. And maybe a half a scoop, a quarter scoop. You don't have to do, it says on the bottle 2 scoops. You don't have to do 2 scoops. It's better to do half a scoop or a quarter scoop all day long than to not do it at all because you don't like the taste or to try to guzzle it down all at once. It's not a good idea to guzzle it down all at once. So sip on it. You may very well not be getting the benefits of it. Z Radical or Fucoidin Z, Biolumin Nightly Essence. Do a fast and do the Suero V if you need to do if you need it for the fast. Although I recommend you try to do a complete fast without anything, and then get yourself keep track of any foods you have a problem with and start to do a food elimination diet.
I can interrupt you for a minute. I've been through that with. I went to see a naturopath a few years.
Okay.
And there were foods that he told me I was having problems with.
He shouldn't be telling you anything. How dare a naturopath tell you what foods you have a problem with? How stupid is that?
I tried his idea about some of the foods, and I went to 6 weeks without taking that food, and then I went back slowly. And if I eat them once in a while, I'm okay.
But you notice there's foods you have a problem with. I'm going to take a break here, so don't go away, Irene. We'll finish up when we come back. Okay, we're back with the bright side. Irene in Canada. Food. That's what you got to focus on. So, and you don't need a naturopath or anybody else. You got to see what foods bother you is basically what it is. And try to eat as simply as possible. And also, you can start with your favorite foods because it usually has something to do with your favorite foods. Does that make sense, Irene?
Yes, it does. That's why, whenever I find something that appears to bother me, I cut it out.
Smart.
And then I go back to it a couple of weeks later, and I only use it once in a while rather than, on a regular basis. So
okay, good.
I believe that everything in moderation is better anyway.
Well, good for you. Well, everything in moderation unless it bothers you, and then everything, then you don't want it at all. So
Oh,
not
no,
everything,
right.
not everything in moderation. Well,
The reason I mentioned the inulin before was because I had no problems with the tangy tangerine, and then
they added the inulin, and you had a
I was trying to
problem.
figure out, well, what's in it, because all of a sudden I'm having trouble. So I started watching what I was eating, and I looked at the ingredients, and I thought, what is inulin? So I checked it out, and I found out it's derived from chicory root.
Yes, but
I'm
inulin is a
allergic to.
fiber, and it's inert. Fiber does not react. It's inert, and it's a soluble fiber, by the way. And so
Well,
should
just
actually...
that it mentioned that it was derived from...
Well, that it's derived from doesn't mean it... Yeah, go
which
ahead.
I have an allergy to. So I thought, well, maybe that's what it is. That's why I'm calling you. Because
Okay, well, no, I would doubt it was the inulin. And when it's derived from, there's no chicory root left in it once it's derived. You know,
I see.
you know what I'm saying? It's derived from chicory root, right? But there's no chicory root in it. It's the fiber that comes from the chicory root. Chicory root.
I see.
I never heard of a chicory root allergy though. But nonetheless,
Chicory root. I have a very high allergy to ragweed, and chicory root is related to ragweed. So that's why I'm calling you, because I thought, okay, they're connected, but is that what's bothering me, or is it something else?
I don't believe that would be the issue. I would look for
Okay.
specific foods. Use your BTT slowly. Get on the probiotics. The Beyond Biolumin Nightly Essence. The Z Radical can be very, very helpful for you. And then sip slowly on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Okay, I will do
Okay, my
that.
dear. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. I hope you didn't take offense. I didn't mean to be offensive.
No, I didn't. As I know exactly where you're coming from. So
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you so much.
Okay,
God
thank you
bless.
very
Have a
much.
beautiful day. Okay, Pat in Indiana. What's cooking?
Yeah, I'm calling about my husband. He had a test for his PSA, and it was 16 the first time. Now it's 26, and they want to do a biopsy.
Well, of course they do, because that's what they do. You know, they make money on it, and that's how they operate. And I don't even want to get into it because it just makes me mad to think about it. The prostate is a fatty gland. That means you want to focus on fats and you want to focus on minerals. And when I say focus on fats, there's two things you want to do. Number one, you want to be very careful about eating bad fats, fried fats, trans fats, processed fats, okay? So stay away from all those foods. And then number two, you want to make sure you're taking in fatty nutrients, and there's a bunch of them. Essential fatty acids, the ultimate EFAs, are very, very important. I'd be using 3 capsules 3 times a day if I were you. Then fatty vitamins are very important, especially vitamins A and D, and also to a certain extent E. About 20,000 IU of A every day. The best way to get your vitamin D is from the sun. If you don't, if you're in Indiana, I don't know how much sun you have these days, but you can use vitamin D3 supplements. I'm not a big believer in vitamin D supplements because the body has to activate the vitamin D, and if you have a kidney problem or intestinal problem, many people do, it's trickier to activate. But in any case, if you can't get your vitamin D from the sun, get it from fish oil or get it from a vitamin D supplement, and then also use 400 IU of vitamin E. There's also a wonderful, wonderful supplement. I mean, I love this stuff. It's called beta-cytosterol, and you want about 300 milligrams of it a day. You can also use the Prost FX from Longevity. And then last but most certainly not least are the minerals zinc and selenium. And these act as a fatty, they're minerals, but they have a sort of fatty nature to them, and they require an effective fat absorption system in order to take advantage of them. So make sure you're using 50 milligrams a day of zinc, and make sure you're using 400 to 600 micrograms a day of the ultimate selenium. And take your zinc, or have your husband take the zinc and take the selenium with fatty foods. Now, if he wants to throw in a couple other things, he may want to include some lecithin and some bile salts. And as always, it's very important first, or along with these strategies, to focus on digestive health and eliminate problem foods, and then also to work on stabilizing the blood sugar by using more protein and more good fat. Coconut oil is great, and then kind of weaning away from foods that spike blood sugar. And you know the suspects probably, the likely suspects: bread and pasta and cereal, etc., potatoes and desserts and all of those kinds of foods. You don't have to have zero tolerance for those foods, but just kind of wean away from them and get into some more protein and more good fat. So fatty vitamins, beta-cytosterol, stay away from the crappy fats, essential fatty acids, and then the minerals zinc and selenium taken with meals, especially fatty meals, and he may want to throw in some lecithin and bile salts and apple cider vinegar, and maybe even the ultimate enzymes to help absorb the fats. Focus on fats is the bottom line here, Pat, okay?
Yeah, now he's always ate pretty good. And he's
Well, pretty good doesn't count, ma'am, and I don't even know what that means.
He does
pretty good.
Sometimes he has to have a lot of sweet.
I'm not ripping him, Pat. I'm just trying to help. I'm not attacked. So pretty good, with all due respect, I don't know what pretty means. That's a modifier for good. That means kinda. Pretty means kinda. When I was a kid, I used to say kinda good. So he's kinda good.
What do you think about that biopsy test?
I would try everything I would do. I would try. First of all, I would never believe my doctor, ever. I never do believe my doctor. I got friends who are doctors. I don't believe them. It's just the model is corrupt and nasty and anachronistic and based on taking advantage of people and manipulative, and it's not the people, it's the model. So I'm very suspicious of anything I hear from a doctor. So what I would do is I would try everything I could do without a biopsy.
Okay. Now he's 89. He's 79 years old.
Okay. Well, he's, God bless him. Has he been, aside from the prostate, is he doing okay?
He's working. He does all kinds of things. He never
praise
quit.
God. He's doing it without a doctor. So as long as you can stay away from a doctor, the better you are. Yeah. The medical model's not our friend, okay? Not our friend at all. It needs to be blown up, in my opinion, and started again. Well, all right. Anyway, I got to move on, Pat. Are you good? Anything else you want to ask me? I don't want to cut you off there, but I got some calls I want to get to.
No, that's all right. I understand. Well, I'll make sure he does this.
Okay, good deal. Have fun. Have a beautiful day. Have a fun day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, let's see. Let's go to Truth Raider in Oregon. What's up, Truth Raider?
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, sir. How can we help you, buddy?
On my left thumb, I have what is called a staph infection, apparently. It's little pustules. It's like a little rash that's around the top of my thumb. And on my ring finger, on my right hand, I have a few little red little bumps, too. And I've had it for years, and I can't get rid of it.
What makes you think it's a staph infection? It's not. It can't be a staph infection because it would get worse. It wouldn't stay the same if you've had it for years. Did the doctor tell you it was a staph infection, or is that a guess?
Yeah, so a psychologist, by the way.
A psychologist told you it was a staph infection?
Yeah, that looks like a staph infection.
Well, how could it be a staph infection if you've had it for years? Infections don't just sit there. They get worse. Or they get better.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out what it was.
Not a staph infection.
I wore a mood ring for several years. I took it off. I had a red ring around my finger. And it goes away, and then it comes back. And since then, for the past 2-3 years, it just keeps going away and coming back as little pustules.
It's that crappy mood you're always in, probably. I'm just kidding. Karl, the Truth Raider. No, here's the deal. Skin issues need to be, the skin and the digestive system are two peas in a pod. This is very important and I've been in the skincare business for many years, and this is very important for people to recognize. If you have eczema, psoriasis, any kind of skincare issue, focus on food. Now, really you want to focus on food and the digestive system no matter what, but nothing screams digestive health issues more than skincare problems, skin health problems, acne, dark spots, rosacea. Rosacea's classic, eczema and psoriasis. So see if you can, if you get flare-ups in this thing, that's really good because then you can link them up to foods. But if you don't have flare-ups, if it kind of just stays stagnant, stays the same, and the condition doesn't get worse or better, then you want to move into some to noticing digestive symptomology. It's very difficult to have a skin condition without digestive symptomology. Then, of course, once you notice digestive symptoms, bloating, gas, heartburn, etc., then link that to foods and then eliminate those foods. At the same time, you start focusing on digestive health by using supplements and by using foods also. Cabbage soup and cabbage in general is wonderful for the digestive system. Anything that's mucilaginous and gooey is going to be good for the digestive system. That's what cartilage is so important for the digestive system. A couple herbs, a slippery elm can be helpful. A slippery elm tea or colt's foot tea. These are mucilaginous herbs. They have an ability to, the mucilaginous property helps coat the digestive system and speeds up the healing process. By the way, for irritable bowel syndrome or digestive issues, there are certain nutrients that can be very helpful. For example, zinc is incredibly important for helping repair the gut lining, as is the amino acid glutamine, which you'll get in bone soup and other high-protein foods. If you can do whey protein, that can also help with digestive health issues. Topically, Karl, the Truth Raider, it doesn't sound like you have a problem that vitamin C can help, but vitamin C is good for a lot of topical health issues. Fat-soluble vitamin C. If you can't find fat-soluble vitamin C, shoot me an email. I'm going to have some new products out here in the next couple of weeks, and they'll feature fat-soluble vitamin C, which I absolutely love. Thanks for your call, Truth Raider. Got to move on. All right, that's all the time we have for today on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll continue and maybe finish up talking about nitrates tomorrow. We'll talk about a really cool strategy that you can use on your veggies to bump up the nitrates, bump up the amount of nitrates you get into your system. Thanks for listening, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.